Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going over the ultimate real estate side hustle. You know, a lot of times real estate agents, as they're getting started in their career or they've hit a lull, they're looking for something to have an additional stream of revenue. And there's lots of things you can be doing. And I'm going to expose you to the one that I ended up doing as a side hustle in 2023. And it's really blown up and it's something that I highly recommend. I'm going to break it down for you right now. And then I think you might be surprised at how easy it actually is to do this. And I'll break down exactly what we're doing. And at the end of the video, I'll even give you a quick couple tips on how you can get started right away. So before we jump into that, make sure you subscribe because we're always giving you the most relevant, up-to-date information on how you can make more money in real estate. I'm Isaac Guzman with Real Estate CEOs and LPT Realty, and I'm here to show you exactly what I believe is the ultimate side hustle. And I actually did it, and I'll give you a tip on how to get started yourself. First things first, I don't think that side hustle should actually be a second job. I think it should be a second business. Don't get me wrong, I'm not mad or hating on anybody who wants to do something like TaskRabbit or drive Uber or anything like that. The problem with those side hustles, though, is that they still are completely dependent on your time to actually make money. You're still exchanging dollars for hours. Right? And that's one of the reasons a lot of us got out of whatever job we were in before, whatever career we had before, and got into real estate is because we didn't want to exchange this many hours for this many dollars. And so one of the best things you can do is a side hustle. Now there's so many of them, but this one I believe is the ultimate, and it's actually owning a handyman's business. Now stick with me here because if you've already checked out and go, that's too crazy, trust me, I don't know how to swing a hammer. I'm not very handy. As a matter of fact, you could see like little chips in my paint right here. I probably need to get somebody to come in and paint that because I'm not super good at that. But here's what I do know, and here's why I decided this. Because I know that at least I've heard the statistic that for every 7 people that are retiring in the trades-based businesses, that's like plumbing, roofing, electrician, HVAC, all those services, for every 7 that are retiring, only 1 is actually coming in to replace them. Now, here's the thing. With so many jobs being under pressure from AI and all kinds of other automations, fixing your toilet, it's probably one that's further down on the list. Maybe robot plumbers will be a thing in the future, but there's not anybody pushing for them right now in this very moment. And so that's a really big opportunity for going into the trades. Now, if I was 21, 22, maybe I'd be doing that. I'm older. I already have an established real estate business and a mortgage team. And so I decided, though, I still wanted a piece of that pie. And so what I started doing was exploring that. Now, I'm not going to go get certified, but you can buy businesses or partner with people. And so I want to break down for you first why this specific side hustle makes sense. And then I'll tell you exactly what I did to actually now own part of a small construction company that has a handyman service department. And we are killing it there. So first off, I actually have some numbers back here. I was just writing them out while I was talking to somebody, but and it actually prompted this video because somebody asked me like, "Hey, dude, I need another stream of income, and what do you do?" And although our real estate business isn't floundering or anything like that, and we have plenty of other things going on, I did say, "Hey, this might be a solution for you." So let me break this down for you. Right now, Handyman Services, good quality ones, they're booking hourly rates. I'm going to use hourly rates for right now, between $75 to $125 an hour for a good quality handyman to come and solve a problem for you. And these are things like hanging TVs, but it's also unclogging toilets, it's replacing doors, lots of other fun stuff, right? Now, some of the stuff that I'm going to talk about, it requires different licenses, but we have a general contractor's license, so that's why I bleed a lot of this stuff into it. But handyman's really cool. Now, there's another reason why, before I break down the math, this is important. It's because it's very tangential to what you're already doing as a real estate agent. Think about it. Think about how many times a real estate agent has to reach out to a handyman. And they're usually unreliable and all these other things, and we could talk about that in another video on how to structure your handyman business so that you don't become that meme of terrible handyman. But anyways, getting back to the point, doing this is really important because you're already inside houses. You're seeing things like requests for repairs. You're having people who buy houses and then want to do these weekend projects, right? As a matter of fact, one of the talks that we give to buyers, especially buyers when it's their first time buying a home or they're really hesitant to buy a home because, you know, they want a turnkey house, but all the turnkey houses in the neighborhood where they want to live are out of their budget, a lot of times what we'll tell them is, hey, listen, this inspection report that we're going over, we're just looking for major health and safety items, all these other things. Some of them we're going to be able to also request, right? What we might call vanity requests. We might be able to get some credits for that or get them to fix that. But a lot of these things that we see on the report, these are going to be weekend warrior projects or handyman things, right? And so we're already preparing people for that. So a lot of times, if you haven't already experienced this, a lot of times you'll have a buyer, they'll go and buy a new house, and then they have 14 projects that they have to get done now that they own the home. And so sometimes they'll do some of it, sometimes they'll do all of it. A lot of times they will tag in and ask for a handyman's help. And so you're already involved in this. Or think about with sellers too. A lot of times they get a request for repairs and they're like, well, I think we can actually fix a lot of these things. Do you know a good handyman? Right now, multiply that across your entire team, all your friends in real estate, your entire brokerage, your entire board. There's thousands every single year of requests for handyman services just in the real estate community. And so these things are happening all the time. And most handymen are not structured in such a way that they can give out like affiliate fees or referral fees, or I don't even know if that would be compliant. So I'm not getting into that. But when you own the business, you can drive it to your business and go, as a matter of fact, I do know a handyman. We have our own handyman service. And boom, that's when you're able to actually attract the business. So that's a low cost of acquisition because, again, you're already meeting people that have that need. You're talking to homeowners. These are people that you're working with right now that are currently in escrow, that just closed, and past clients. They always need something too, right? And it's one of the things that we do. And every single year we call and do an updated vendor list. And that's another thing that we can also say is like, hey, do you have any needs around the house? Plumber, electrician, handyman? A lot of times when we call that from our real estate side, they go, yeah, as a matter of fact, this door, it won't close all the way. I've tried it 7 times. I really just need somebody's help. Do you have a good handyman? So I think the argument and the case has been made for handyman is actually a really smart thing to do. The economics are really great too, because like I said, $75 to $125 an hour. Now, what you're going to see is you're typically going to pay a handyman technician, somebody who knows their stuff, somebody's early on in their career, maybe not the jack of all trades, has run an entire facility for a property management company or an apartment complex. You can start them at, here in Southern California, 24, 25 bucks an hour. The more skilled people, the people who maybe have licenses or certificates in plumbing and stuff like that, you can go to up to as high as like 40 bucks an hour, right, to do drywall patches and all these other things. So that's really the economics of it. So I'll break down a kind of a scenario for the business is, let's say you settled on $100 an hour. Okay, that's for your labor charges. Then you pay, because you got a good technician that you really like, you want to keep, and you want to keep them happy. Let's say you're paying them $35 an hour, right? So right there, you already have a 65% gross margin, right? Now, miscellaneous things like paying for their gas, buying tools. Maybe you have software that you're using. We use a software called House Call Pro for our company, which like does all the invoicing and stuff like that, even offers financing. And so it's really interesting, and scheduling, by the way. And so I can keep an eye on the technicians as they're out doing jobs and uploading receipts and all this stuff. But let's say that all your miscellaneous costs with office space, maybe obviously you have to have a place to store tools and all that. Let's say that's going to range somewhere in that 20% range. Well, boom, now you're still working at a 45% margin. Now here's the thing a lot of people don't really think about is material costs oftentimes, almost always, are going to be passed through to the client. Right now, what some people do, we don't actually do this in our business, but it's totally above board and plenty of people do it and consumers are totally fine with it and expect it, is you can also mark up on materials. So the toilet cost $138. Okay, great. Contractors typically mark up about 20% for materials. Let's say you were just going to mark up 10. Okay, great. So now it's not $140, it's $154, right, for materials. Now, what we do as a specialty is that, especially with repeat clients, we go, no, you're paying costs for materials. Yeah, we spent money on gas and time paying that person and go to Home Depot and get that on the way, but we're going to pass through that cost to you and absorb it in our hourly rate because we charge a higher hourly rate. We're about $125 an hour. So anyways, just kind of giving you that breakdown of this is a good margin business, especially if you're not the one, even if you're not the one swinging the hammer, right? So in the Uber scenario, you're the one who's still behind the steering wheel, right? In the scenario we're doing photography, you're the one who's still doing the photos and the drone footage and doing the editing and all that. In this scenario, I'm going to go and find a technician that's going to do the handyman work for me. I'm going to be doing the bookings, the invoicing, receiving the financing, and then running payroll, right? And so this is a really good business. And just kind of thinking about that, if you can book 2 jobs a day at that rate, really you're not going to be able to book $800 a day because there's drive time. Maybe they're 2 different jobs in 2 different parts of town. So what we have found is we typically can have 5 good productive hours out of a technician in a given day, a given work day. And so that's $500 of billable hours, right? So if they're working 8 hours, because I'm going to pay them even though they're driving around and doing other stuff and lunch and all this fun stuff, I'm going to pay them for 8 hours. So what that looks like is now I'm paying them $280 out of pocket. I just pulled in 5 in revenue, 280 out. That's 220 that you can look at as margin for the day. And that's really great stuff because that's you not having to do very much. That's you finding jobs, scheduling it, sending out the invoices, and managing the back end. And so, how do you build up to 2 jobs a day? Like I said, it's diving into the real estate business, networking with other real estate agents. I'm telling you, there's so many handyman jobs out there for you to go capture. All you got to do is ask, and they'll just start coming in. And if your handyman's reliable and you have good customer service, then you are going to continue to get an influx of these things. And for us, we also take on bigger jobs, but really our margins in like water heater replacement and patching up drywall and putting in like pot lighting, all things that you can do for with a handyman license. Right now there's handyman license in California. Check for your state what the licensing requirements are, but there's actually a designated handyman license in California now, and so you can get those things and be able to be above board on all that stuff. So all that said, here's the tip about how I got started. The first thing I did is called my handyman. Now the handyman that I use is a very particular type of handyman. They are a fully licensed, bonded, and insured general contractor that happen to do a lot more in handyman. And the way that I found them, I actually known them for years, but the way that we reconnected was I was just at a networking event. And good handyman, good construction services, they're often at the same type of events you are if they're smart enough to know that they can get a lot of work from real estate agents. So this one happened to be sponsoring our local Real Producers magazine. I was at the local Real Producers magazine event. If you don't have a Real Producers magazine in your market, just think it's a real estate syndication that's all about like, hey, here's the top 200 real estate agents and highlighting agents all across town. And so anyways, a lot of vendors like title and insurance and escrow and mortgage, they sponsor that magazine and the events. Well, a good handyman will too. So I reached out to the handyman and said, hey, I'm looking to buy a business, whether it's painting or roofing or something like that, because of what I said earlier, and that I want to own a trades-based business. And I said, and here's my unique skill set. Here's what I'm really good at. I'm really good at sales and driving traffic and blah, blah, blah. And I said, do you know of anybody? And they went, well, we always run into people from time to time. We'll keep it in mind. I said, well, what about you? Are you ever looking for partners in your business? I said, well, yeah, actually, all the things that you said are the things that we lack, right? Online lead generation, marketing, advertising, that type of stuff, because they want to build a sales force. They have a lot of big ambitions, but they weren't exactly sure how to do that. And so it was really simple for me to just kind of say, hey, this is what I want to do. How can we structure that? And so now I own a handyman business with some business partners, and I'm able to use my real estate business to help feed that even more. We also work with property managers, right? And so these are the people that I can start doing. These are the ways that I generate business for them that they weren't already doing. Requests for repairs, like I said, my past clients, other agents, everybody in my team in the brokerage, other vendors that I can rely on, right? These are things that we can absolutely do. And again, it's a side hustle technically, but really if you could just own that business, you will totally crush it. So call a handyman and see if there's something that maybe you can buy them. A lot of times if you're buying a business like that, you're actually just buying the assets because they don't have a book of business or long-term contracts. And so really you're just buying like their tools, their warehouse, and their name. And then you can start running your business that way. So there's a lot of other nuance that goes into it. I'm not a business purchasing coach or, a private equity coach like people like Cody Sanchez or something like that, who's, by the way, is amazing. And one of the main reasons I got into this kind of stuff was watching her content. Huge shout out, no affiliation to her, just think she's amazing. But in either case, this is a huge side hustle that I think most real estate agents can do. And by the way, this isn't just for somebody who's like struggling in the real estate business. Maybe you're crushing it in real estate. All the more reason that you should do something like this. Now, here's a quick thing. If you want to partner up on something like this, let me know. Book some time. I put my link in the comments below. I might not be able to figure it out, but like especially if you're in like California, we're a general contractor for all of California. And we can get licenses in other states. We're also SBA approved. We just got a juice hut job to help retrofit a juice bar, but it's being funded by the SBA, so we've been through all them. And so we're figuring a lot of this stuff out, but it all started from me being like, how can I increase my streams of income and really just piggyback on what I already know and what I'm already doing? Handyman service all day, best hustle. I challenge you to tell me a better one. And by the way, if there is a better one and you know about it, please let me know. I want to jump in on it too. Until next time, happy selling.